The Golden State Warriors are about to pull off the biggest trade. As you all know, the Warriors have made some big moves this offseason, but they are looking to make one more big move before the season starts. In today's video, we're going to be going through 5 potential players that the Golden State Warriors have been in trade talks with, and also how they can help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first player the Golden State Warriors are looking to trade for is KJ Martin. As you all know, KJ Martin was a fantastic player for the Houston Rockets, and he recently just got traded, but now he is back on the Warriors watch list because they are looking to make another trade in order to get him in a Warriors uniform. As you all know, KJ Martin is a fantastic player, a very young player at that, being only the age of 22. He's 6'6", 215 pounds, but plays at small forward / power forward position. His average over the last season was 12.7 points. He also averaged 5.5 rebounds and 1.5 assists. He did a fantastic job all year around, and he also had a 3-point percentage of 32% and an effective field goal percentage of 62% as well. So he did a fantastic job as well on top of everything, but I do believe KJ Martin is a perfect fit for what the Warriors are trying to achieve. They definitely need another player that can play that small forward, power forward position if they are looking to trade someone like Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga would probably be in the trade talks if this trade was to happen, and if that is the case, we would see KJ Martin replace what Kuminga was supposed to be, especially when it comes to, playoff time and all of that nature. KJ Martin is still a very young player, but he has shown time in and time out with the Houston Rockets that he can be a great player on a great team. And I think that's something that is so special about his game. He is the son of the famous NBA player Kenyon Martin, and I do believe he does have a lot of experience and plays with a lot of maturity that we see day in and day out. The Golden State Warriors were actually looking to make a trade for KJ Martin earlier on in the offseason. However, he was traded off to the Los Angeles Clippers. But now it has been known that the Los Angeles Clippers are willing to give him up if the right trade is there, and now Warriors and also LA Clippers are back into talks on trading for KJ Martin. When it comes to the trade, yes, Jonathan Kuminga may also be in that picture in order to get traded. It could just be a straight off swap, as I do believe both teams get a win-win situation where LA Clippers get a young star, and so does the Golden State Warriors. The second potential trade the Warriors are looking to make is to trade for Paul George. Now this is honestly a big trade, and in order to get someone like Paul George in a Warriors uniform, the Golden State Warriors would have to give up quite a lot. As you all know, PG-13 does play for the Los Angeles Clippers, and he did a fantastic job last season, especially due to the fact that Kawhi Leonard did not play a lot of the games. He averaged 23.8 points, also grabbed 6.1 rebounds and dished out 5.1 assists, while also shooting 37% from the 3 and an effective field goal percentage of 54%. So he did a fantastic job even at the age of 33. He's definitely in his last few peak years in the NBA, and I think now is probably the perfect time to get someone like Paul George in a Warriors uniform. Now when it comes to getting him in a Warriors uniform, I think what is definitely necessary is that the Golden State Warriors would have to give up one of their stars. Whether it's Chris Paul or Klay Thompson, those two are the names that come up when it comes to NBA media talking about this trade, and we may need to also chuck in Jonathan Kuminga and also a couple of draft picks at the same time. Paul George isn't a cheap player to get in the team, but LA Clippers have been looking to ship him off and also rebuild with also Kawhi Leonard. But I do believe Paul George is probably a better fit than Kawhi due to the fact that at least Paul George actually plays games. I think that's something that is so important. When it comes to PG, I think he would be fantastic for this Warriors team. I can imagine a lineup where you have Steph Curry, Paul George, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond, and Kevon Looney. That is a big lineup, and you also have two-way players in Paul George and Andrew Wiggins in that starting 5. So in order for this trade to happen, yes, the Golden State Warriors would have to give up a lot. However, could it be worth a trade? Because Paul George is a fantastic player, and Klay Thompson and also Chris Paul are going to be at the end of their contract next season. So it could be the Golden State Warriors, instead of getting a free salary cap at the end of next season, they could just get a superstar in Paul George straight away for those two players. The third is the Warriors are exploring options to trade for Bogdan Bogdanovic. Now, as you all know, Bogdan Bogdanovic is a fantastic 3-point shooter, and who said the Warriors don't need more shooters on their team? Yes, they got Steph, yes, they got Klay, but they could use also Bogdan Bogdanovic. Now, when it comes to him, he has actually played fantastic last season because he actually averaged 21.6 points, also grabbed 3.8 rebounds, and also dished out 2.6 assists. He had a 3-point percentage of 41%. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 41%. And he also had an effective field goal percentage of 57%. So Bojan did a fantastic job all year when it came to playing for the Detroit Detroit Pistons, who aren't really the strongest team, but he was able to put up a shooting clinic. And I think, like I mentioned time and time again, the Golden State Warriors are looking for a second unit where they can get a lot more scores in that second unit, and Bojan could definitely be that guy. I don't think Bogdanovic is expecting, a superstar role or anything like that in any team, and the Detroit Pistons have made it known that they are looking to rebuild from scratch once again. Now, in order for the Warriors to get someone like Bojan on the team, they wouldn't have to give up quite a lot, and I think that's what makes his trade very, very good. Bogdanovic is 34 years old, 6'7", 226 pounds, so he is, very old in a sense of NBA years. However, I do believe he still can provide a lot for a team, especially in a role player role. We see Andre Iguodala play such a huge role for the Warriors until the end of his career, and I do believe Bojan can definitely do the same. Bogdanovic has done a fantastic job for Detroit, especially at the age of 34 years old, and all he really needs to do for this Warriors second unit is provide that scoring, which I definitely know he can do. He's a great three-point shooter, great scorer all year round, and I think his consistency on the floor will definitely pay dividends when it comes to playing in a Warriors uniform to help them win another NBA championship. The fourth player the Warriors can trade for is Bol Bol. Now, as you all know, Bol Bol is kind of the most underrated famous player in the league right now. A lot of players do want to see him do well, and so also do a lot of NBA fans, and I think they are completely right. I think Bol Bol has the potential to be a great player, but just hasn't really been given the opportunity to be able to shine under the bright light. Now, Bol Bol has been fantastic for the Orlando Magic, where he actually averaged 9.1 points, also grabbed 5.8 rebounds, and dished out 1 assist. He was also averaging 1.2 blocks, which was fantastic, but you do got to remember, guys, he was only playing around 18 minutes per game. He still had an effective field goal percentage of 58%, which is fantastic, and I don't think you guys don't remember, but he's 7'2", 220 pounds, and is still only 23 years of age. And this is why I think Bol Bol could be a fantastic player. The Golden State Warriors can use the height of Bol Bol in their lineup due to the fact that the tallest player right now is only Dario Saric at 6'10". They definitely could use a 7-footer in their team, because as you do know, when we looked at the last series they played in the playoffs against the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the biggest key takeaways on why they really did struggle was due to the fact that they didn't have enough size to be able to contain players like LeBron James and also Anthony Davis, who's also a 7-footer. So there's definitely a lot to it when it comes to Bol Bol. I think he could be a fantastic player in the league, but when it comes to playing in a Warriors uniform, I definitely do think he can fit the right bill. He's still a very young player, like I mentioned, at 23 years old, so there's still a lot of growth that can happen for Bol Bol, which I think is really surprising. When it comes to his wingspan, it really does stretch out to the length of the court, and he can pretty much block shots left, right, and center. So he's definitely a great defensive anchor, and if you need him to score 5 to 10 points per game, he can definitely give you that on a regular basis, which I think is great for him. Now, in order for the Golden State Warriors to trade for Bol Bol, they would have to probably give up quite a few players. Bol Bol is obviously looking to be shipped out, as the Orlando Magic do not want him anymore. However, when it comes to who they are going to receive for him, they probably would ask for someone like Jonathan Kuminga and also maybe a couple of draft picks. So they would have to give up quite a few in order to get Bol Bol. Orlando do want to get a good deal out of it. I think having Kuminga, being able to keep him and also get Bol Bol would be a positive. However, it doesn't really seem like that could be the case. They would have to give up a very good deal in order to get Bol Bol in their team, and I think Jonathan Kuminga would be a player that the Orlando Magic would be much interested in. The fifth player the Warriors could trade for is Blake Griffin. Now, Blake Griffin has been a great player, but he hasn't really gotten a lot of minutes in the most recent team that he played for, which was the Boston Celtics. He did average 13 minutes per game, and he did have quite a few good games when he was given the actual minutes. He averaged last season 4.1 points, 1.5 assists, and 3.8 rebounds. He also had an effective field goal percentage of 57%, and surprisingly, guys, he had a 3-point percentage of 35% as well. So Blake Griffin has been able to expand his game and become a decent 3-point shooter, and I think Blake Griffin would be fantastic to have on the team just when you need him the most, and that's why I think Blake Griffin can definitely provide. He may not be the guy that you're going to sub off for Kevon Looney. He is 6'9", 250 pounds, and he is 34 years old already. However, I do believe he can still provide a lot. Where I do think this does also match very well is that he has played with Chris Paul before, and I think that second unit would work very well, as Chris Paul has played with Dario Saric, he's played with Blake Griffin, so there's a lot of chemistry already with that second unit, which I think is going to be super important. He has been playing fantastic when it comes to his peak years. However, I do believe his game has definitely changed, and he does have a lot of injuries on his way. So when it comes to that, Griffin can only give you maybe 5 to 10 minutes per game. However, I do believe still getting someone an addition like Blake Griffin could still help out the team tremendously. He gives a lot of veteran experience, which I think is super important, and a lot of the younger guys would definitely need. You know, now that there's more younger guys in Moses Moody, Gary Payton II still considered a very young guy, and now you also have Trace Jackson Davis, all these other, you know, new players that are young and very young at it. So they don't have a lot of experience. I think Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, Dario Saric, all these veterans can definitely teach them a thing or two, especially when it comes to how to run a second unit, how to be the best you can be. And I think that's something that Blake Griffin can definitely provide and something that they could trade for. Now, in order to get Blake Griffin, we wouldn't have to give up quite a lot, and that's why I think this would be an honestly great pick up for the Warriors.